Over the last 3 years, you've done all sorts of different sports in your PE lessons, and lots of you have been involved with the extracurricular clubs that we run after school. And it's been great to see so many of you enjoying yourselves and progressing so well in all the different sports, and many of you representing the school as well. Over the last year, lots of you have expressed an interest in taking your core PE and moving on to something like the GCSE PE course. That might be because you really enjoy your sport and you want to become a better practical performer, or it might be because you've got an eye further down the line on what you would like to do as a career when you leave school. And either one of those reasons, perfectly good reasons and excellent reasons for being interested in taking the GCSE PE course. So the type of student the GCSE PE course would suit would be the sort of student with that sort of drive and enthusiasm about sport and practical activity, and a student that is regularly, consistently, frequently involved in competitive sport outside school in at least 2 sports. That will help you to get the best out of your GCSE PE course. The course breaks down into 2 parts. There is 60% of the overall mark coming from the theory element, and the theory element will be delivered in a classroom. That's assessed at the end of year 11 through 2 exams of 1 hour and 15 minutes each, and covers topics such as anatomy and physiology, where we look at the skeleton and muscles and joints and how they all work together to give us an efficient movement and execution of skill on a football pitch or wherever. We look at skill acquisition, so how do we learn new skills? How do we take a skill that we already can perform on our strong side, and how do we become better at performing it on our weak side? And how do we need to structure practices, and what guidance and feedback do we need from coaches in order to be able to do that? Performance enhancing drugs, we'll look at why people take them, what the disadvantages and the risks are with taking those. Social cultural factors, why certain genders and certain people from certain social cultural backgrounds are drawn to or tend to play certain sports, and what are the forces that steer them in that direction. So there's lots and lots of really interesting topics that will improve your understanding of sport and physical activity. The second part is the practical component. Now it's worth 40% of your overall mark. Within that, you will choose 3 sports to be assessed in. One of them will be a team sport, such as football. One of them will be an individual sport, tennis singles, for example. And your third sport will be either one of those 2 categories. So you'll end up with 2 team sports and an individual, or the other way around, 2 individual and 1 team sport. And that's why it's really, really important that you have already that involvement in sport, because you're going to do 3 sports in total. You need to have experience in, I would say, 2 of them already to give yourself the best chance of having time to learn that third sport. Our ex-students who have been through the GCSE course have really, really enjoyed it. They've loved taking the sports that they enjoy outside school and bringing in evidence of their performance in that and showing people how good they are, and then ultimately getting a mark based on that. And they've also enjoyed the topics as well that we cover in the classroom, and seeing how they link with their performance and using those topics and that knowledge to make themselves a better performer. They've gone on to many different careers, so sports teaching, sports coaching, physiotherapy, sports scientists, sports photographers, sports journalists. We've got all sorts of different careers, or students that have gone on to all these different careers afterwards, and they all had a thoroughly good time on the course. So it's an excellent course, very, very interesting. We would love to have you on that course. If you've got any questions at all, please come down to PE and ask us about it, or if we're not back in school, drop us an email and we'll be happy to get back to you. But we look forward to seeing you next year, and we hope that you're all to take the GCSE PE.